that property because you may not recoup those initial hard costs. This way, it's against the land tax. The next purchaser assumes that, and it just continues. Basically, what the law here in California is ABA 11. They're putting a minimum financing amount of $5,000. They're putting a cap of $75,000 onto it. Certainly adequate to handle residential solar, whatever your needs are, really. Very few properties are going to need a system that's worth $75,000 in solar panels. Certainly, if you spend money on energy efficiency improvements, you would not need such a large system as what might have been expected without those considerations. It's variable how these programs will be applied. Santa Barbara is coming out with one that is strictly their own, beginning April 15th. Several other counties, Ventura included, they're coming on with another program that they're going to be doing through a bond issue. That's how they're going to raise the capital for it. Watch for these programs if you're interested. They typically come out in a pilot phase, wherever they're going to be regionally. And will offer a limited number of seats. When Berkeley came out with theirs, they offered 2,000 seats, and by noon of day 3, they were completely signed out. They're just that popular. Vice President Biden has studied the situation, studied the Berkeley model, and they are recommending this now across the nation. So this is the norm that's coming in terms of financing solar systems.
Now, they've got that funding in Ventura. They currently are, I think, as of April, supposed to come out here in the Santa Barbara County. Is that
correct?
Yeah. Okay.
Ventura will open up as a pilot program. My understanding of Santa Barbara is it's just going to be wide open from the start. Do not believe that anyone can correct me if they know differently, that there isn't going to be a pilot program, that it is going to be wide open here in Santa Barbara.
And I guess one other option is private lending for a better rate, since we're all investors, right?
Which comes to another point, the solar mortgage. You have an opportunity here as an investor to find people who are looking for money. It can be a very safe investment. You'll want to, of course, look at who the borrower is, but certainly in certain financial arrangements with long-standing companies per se, or very stable individuals, you have a very safe investment there, because those systems will generally be in place. If the borrower isn't using the power, there's typically a net metering arrangement where that electricity will still be generating revenues. You would put it into your contracts, and I will speak to this more in detail here momentarily. Some of the advantages of these financed against the land taxes versus what has been here up to this date is you've got a longer repayment period, obviously. The repayment transfers with ownership. Many property owners do not want to invest in energy efficiency or solar energy improvements if they plan to sell their property in a few years. Some of what you're reading, what is up here is, of course, it's for the municipalities. It's a document that was aimed at them, but it does apply here too. And you'll see some variety of the interest rates that are going to be offered on this. And that's where you as an investor or someone who has a pool of capital to put forward can compete possibly very effectively. They're going to tend to be a little higher interest rate than what some people might hope for. Probably in the high 6s, 7, 8s, somewhere in there. You still get your tax benefits if you purchase through this system, and you've also got the state rebate that you get to collect as well on it. And when they talk about these programs, they refer to them as an energy financing district. Santa Barbara is its own energy financing district, Ventura County, and so on and so forth. And they've got a lot of leeway how they can operate in AB 811. They can choose to finance it out of their own revenues. They may have cash surpluses, however they want to structure it. bond issues, so forth. So traditionally, electrical rates have risen 30% over the last XX years. Is it going to continue to do so? That's a big question. When you specify a system for someone and you start doing their cash flows, you assume an annual inflation rate. And I've seen these vary from 5 up to 7.5%. Will electricity continue to go up, and up? I question it. I question whether it will, because you're seeing more people come online producing electricity. Are the big central generators going to be able to dictate to us ad infinitum what the rate of electricity is going to be? Are homeowner groups, are cities, municipalities and that going to have a say in that? I think they will. So I caution anyone to assume that there will be an unchecked inflation rate on electricity.
So you're actually saying that mass solar panels out there could create competition to drive that price down?
I doubt it's going to drive it down, but I think it's going to offset that assumed annual inflation rate given some time. Not in the short term, but in short term I'm thinking 5 years. But in 10 years, in 15 years, it may not have taken a steady increase as is assumed. And I would caution anyone who's investing in a large-scale project and so forth that take everything with a grain of salt. Figure out some alternative scenarios. Don't assume that this power production is just going to continue to rise and rise. We do have technologies that are generally accessible to the civilian population that very well may produce power in abundance. Over the horizon, should those technologies be actualized and released, it's going to be a big game changer. You can literally call them disruptive technologies. So what you're looking at here in this Edison bill, and you've got, if anyone's seen theirs, you've got 5 rate structures. It may be a little different numbers, but it's all the same 5 rate structures, and they're proposing a 6th. You know, as I said 2 years ago, when you went in to sell a solar system, you generally sized it to cover this portion of the bill. It had the quickest return on investment. Once I got control of the company, I shifted that immediately. And I said, you know what, we're going to do this with energy efficiency measures, because I'm selling to my neighbors, my friends, and my relatives. And I'm not going to tell them what they shouldn't be hearing. Because what they should be hearing is you do your energy efficiency measures, you do your LED lighting, you do your alternative heating system that's more efficient. You open up some skylights, you do all these kinds of things that are going to decrease your power consumption, because it's just easier without sacrificing your lifestyle, mind you. Because it's like when Ronald Reagan kicked the solar panels off the roof that Jimmy Carter had put up there. He says, we're not a nation of misers, we're an abundant nation. But you know, we don't have to have that abundance through coal or gas or fossil fuels. We can have that through solar. So again, look at your overall usage. Putting $10,000 in panels to create electricity when you could eliminate that with a $5,000 investment in energy efficiencies is the way to go. And particularly, I will stress LED lighting. The advantages of LED lighting are numerous. In addition to the fact that they're half or even less of what a fluorescent is. It's just that what's happened is our major manufacturers are all tooled up for these fluorescent lights. They have stock, they have supply chain. So, you know, they twist the arm of someone in Sacramento. That creates the rebates, or through the utility companies are all geared towards the fluorescent lights at this time. We change out lights in warehouses where they've got the metal halide, sodium, high pressure lights, and we'll look at the fluorescent, we'll look at the LED, and when you look at things like maintenance to change that bulb out, cost of an electrician, 50,000 hour lifespan versus 18,000 hours, even with the rebate, the LED makes a lot of sense. So even though it is an upfront cost, if you are financing things, it does make sense to change out your lighting.